Hello, everybody. I'm Eric Zimmerman. I'm one of the faculty at the NYU Game Center, and I'm happy to welcome you here tonight to this evening's lecture. For those of you who are just visiting us tonight, the NYU Game Center is the Department of Game Design in Tisch School of the Arts at NYU. And being in an art school, our point of view is that games are culture. They're important culture, and we stand proudly alongside Tisch's other departments in theater and dance and dramatic writing as one of the sort of essential forms of human expression. So that's what our program is about. That's what our lecture series is about. And I also want to thank a couple of sponsors for our lecture series who help support our efforts, and those include the Empire State Development Fund and Take-Two Interactive. So thank you very much to those two organizations. Let's give them a little round of applause. Thank you. Yes. Because I know NYU seems like this giant rich organization, and maybe it is, but somehow that doesn't all trickle down to us. So we really do appreciate their support. I also want to give you a heads up about a couple of events that are coming up. Our next lecture series event is November 13th. And that is going to be a double header. Two of our graduates from our program that have done award-winning independent games, Des Pelote and Consume Me, are going to be here talking about their work, talking about life after school, the life of an indie. It's going to be another incredible lecture. A couple weeks after that actually 1 week after that on November 20 is No Quarter. No Quarter is our annual event where we commission game artists, designers to create site-specific, space-specific, gallery-intended experiences. So these are not just video games on a screen. They often involve space or multiple play. Some are with computers or without computers. It's always interesting to see what these super creative game makers come up with. So you're all invited to that. How do you find out about these things and RSVP for them? Go to gamecenter.nyu.edu and get on our mailing list. That's the best way to keep in touch with everything going on at the Game Center. I think that's all of my administrative stuff. Again, welcome. And now we're going to get to the main event for the evening, it is my incredible honor this evening to introduce our honored guest, Dimma Davidoff, who is visiting us. Thank you, yes? All right. All right. I didn't even say anything about you yet. So you may have heard of a game or played games like Mafia or Werewolf, these hidden role games where you get assigned a role at the beginning and you're voting on who to kick out of the game. Well, Dimma, and maybe Dimma may be talking more about this, but as a student of psychology in the Soviet Union in the 1980s, Dimma invented those games. And it's rare that we can trace a game back or to an author that becomes like such an influential genre, right? If we look over digital games like Among Us, if we look over the plethora of hidden role tabletop games, if we look at Mafia and Werewolf specifically and how they have become television shows and films, the influence of these designs is really incredible. Dimma, that's not the only thing that Dimma has done. He's had a very colorful life and career after moving to the United States. He's worked in film and television. He's worked in advertising. He's done research on online games and digital games, and he continues to make games as well. One funny little mathematical game we were just playing earlier this evening that maybe he'll be sharing with you if you're very nice to him. So it's really, as someone who is a brilliant, interesting mind, someone that is sort of restlessly creative and always thinking about how people interact with each other, that wonderful intersection of where mathematics meets psychology, meets sort of human emotion. I think that Dimma's work is really exemplary. It's such an honor to have you here, and please join me in a warm welcome for Dimma Davidoff.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and thank you for inviting me. All good sound? So kind of epigraph for all my talk is story about dogs who rescuing people. Have you heard that when something happened, earthquake, and I know somebody got lost in the woods, dogs are going and finding that person? Do you know why they would go and find that person? And the majority of people never ask that question, and they start answering like food or order. Actually, no. Dogs have passion for games. Dogs have passion for play. And the only way to get the dog 4 a.m. in the morning, a dog who is fed up, who is sleeping, and there is a storm outside, but you want to get the dog out and find that person, you train the dog, you teach the dog that it has a favorite toy, she has a favorite toy, and sometime that toy gets taken by some stupid person who lost in the woods. So dog waked up at 4 a.m. and they said, you know your favorite toy? So that toy is over there. Let's go find it. And I was playing, how you train the dog, you take a person, he takes the toy, he hides in the wood, and I sit in the wood for like half an hour, for an hour, quietly, and the dog come find me. The dog's supposed to find you 100% of the time. And then you, wow, you play with the dog, and it's all exciting, and then you hide again, and it's all that. So that passion to play, it's actually bigger than humans. Like, who of you would wake up at 4 a.m. and go, like, yeah, I know the trouble with good games, it's 4 a.m. So, and that was always my motto, but like, then you have to go play something else. I think you all know about Mafia, so I'll try not to talk about the Mafia much, right? And I actually will have to go deep into history of games, history of psychology, history of neuropsychology, history of motor control, and a few more, and biological diversity. So I'm sorry if you're tired, it's the best time to learn, and I'll try to make it as fast as possible, as painless as possible as I can. Okay, let's start with history of games. History of games, there's no history. Yeah, nobody cared about games. I was really surprised. Like until 100 years ago, and that's my time period, I'm looking like 100 years ago, it's how I look at the world. And no one before actually pay any attention to that. Besides rich people, poor people, and authorities. Throughout all the history, all cultures ban games. They all banned games constantly, gambling constantly. Why? Because everybody was playing, especially rich people and poor people. But nobody talked about them. There's no record. Like there's some, you could count them on one hand. So that's it with the history of games. It's done. Okay? 100 years ago. 100 years ago, we start actually thinking about games due to that guy, Lev Vygotsky. Psychologist, Soviet Union, 100 years ago, 1925, my scientific grandfather. So I am kind of belong to his school, so I have to tell you history of my framework so you would understand the games I'm playing now. Otherwise, they look strange. And we start with blind deaf children, which actually also doesn't exist until 100 years ago. Nobody cared about them. Ann Keller, if you heard about Ann Keller, but she was the one person. She was the unique, the God gave something to her, but other blind deaf children were not so lucky. Because, okay, think about blind deaf children. Imagine yourself. You wake up You just born. No sounds, no visions, no nothing. Will you become a human?
Yeah.
Will you? So it starts so blind deaf person when he is born, they only what they do this oscillation rocking. That's all what brain does. That's just rocking, nothing else. Then at some point, civilization starts coming in. And the best way to explain how civilization is coming in through spoon. So before that, you have mouth, you have foot, that's it. No eyes, no ears, mouth, foot. And then at some point, somebody force spoon between your mouth and the foot. And it's really strange when you think about it. Try to teach animal that. Spoon between mouth and the foot. And that spoon becomes the category, becomes the tool, and actually what it does, it kind of creates butterflies, mediated trajectories. So what spoon does? Spoons does trajectories in the world, and at the same time, you're operating the spoon, does trajectories in your mind, how you operate the spoon. So all of a sudden, you have this butterfly category and butterfly. One side of butterfly is outside world, one side of butterfly is inside world. And then you have the next category, and then you have the next category, and then you have the next category. And that's all we have. We just have all this spoon, next word, next word. And that's actually the end of psychology. That's what Vygotsky suggested, that everything inside comes from outside, from social environment. It's called zone of proximal development. Who knows about that? Okay, now finally I'll explain you what it means. That's an attempt by blind deaf children to present the house. Again, imagine, you never see the roof, right? What's a roof if you're a blind deaf person, right? That's a language. Yes, no, all that. That's a daughter of Lev Vygotsky, Gita. And okay, let me move a little bit forward. All of a sudden, what happens with blind deaf children, that they grow up in this cage of categories. Because they can't verify what they're saying. And the world around them is supposed to be as stable as possible. For example, all doors should be always closed or always open. All things should be on the same spot. So the world presents for them as an entirely stable structure governed by categories which are only from people you trust. And you grow up like this. Imagine, that's all you know. At some point, 10, 12 years old, your classmates will deceive you. Will say, you know, teacher wants you to hide in a closet. And you hide in the closet. And teacher comes and say, why are you hiding in the closet? And you say, because they told me. I said, well, it was a joke. And all of a sudden you have this ontological earthquake. The whole world is crashing. See, imagine that. The whole category, everything. You thought that the world is trusted, but then, boom. We, the regular children, are actually not that different from blind deaf children. We do all the same. You think that you see and you hear? No, you see and hear only what you have category for. You don't see, you don't have a word, you don't see it. My example was, do you know what pudding stone is? So there's a volcano, and there's 4 sites in the world, and there's when volcano send lava down, rocks will roll, and you have this embedding of little rocks inside, so it looks like a pudding. And where I live in Boston, there's a lot of these pudding stones in the woods where I like to walk. And I never noticed them. For like a decade, I walk, never noticed, until someone's, look, this is a pudding stone. Now all I saw is a pudding stone. It's like everywhere, pudding stones are everywhere. Now I know what it is. The same with all of us. So if you think that we are different from blind deaf children, no. And so does their blind deafness slow them down in their development? No. Because we learn through books and through categories. As soon as they start reading, they even go faster than us. Because we all have all these distractions. They don't. Few of them were studying in our department and finished and becoming PhD doctors and all that. And if one of my favorite answers, they ask, how do you have a will to live like that? How is it? And the guy said, you know, it's all about whims. It's easy. You have whims. Whims are what rules you out of these cages. You know what whim is? Yeah? I want this. So Vygotsky died in 1934, very young. He was lying on his deathbed with tuberculosis, and his daughter was reading books. And he said, Gita, you're always reading. Could you go and play a little bit? You have to play a little bit. And that's because he thought that ik can was ik will. I want I want that I can, right? I can what I want. I can what I want, right? And that's a major scheme for him describing what games are and what pretend play is and what lying is about. This is a field where we live, all right? You get this category cage where everything has its names, and that's how children grew up, and that's actually how the whole humankind grew up until, again, 100 years ago. Majority of people never lied, never pretend to play. They live in these category cages all their life, and that's explained a lot. But at some point, children in a game will turn this ratio. And before that, it was a word, and word has meaning. And that meaning is come from adult world, from world outside. In games, child create his own world. This is a car, this is a horse, I'll be the general, you'll be the mother. And all of a sudden, you have power to name the world. And that's for Vygotsky was most important, because that's the only thing that matters for us as human beings, is to have this power to rename the world. And the games and play, it's the only way how we could train that, how we could grow, and how we become human beings. Without it, we just sitting in this category silos. We are category silos, unless you find a way to break them. So, zone of proximal development. So it's the essence of psychology. It's very easy to understand. But somehow nobody teaches this. Simple test. We take two groups of children and ask them to remember 20 words. And and one group of children we ask just remember, and they say that okay, this is words. Another group of children will have pictures associated with words to help them to remember them. So if we do that at 5 years old, we have about the same results. If we do that at 15 years old, we get about the same results. If we do it at 8, then strange things happen. We have this big difference. So that's a sweet spot when category actually get in. So here, at 5 years old, kids don't understand how to use picture to remember. At 15 years old, kids don't need any more pictures to remember. But at 8 years old, that's a perfect spot where kids without pictures will remember less than kids with pictures. And now every category, every word, everything you have in your mind, move you sometimes in that direction. And that will become your, imagine it's multidimensional, mecha around you. That's what we are. All these categories which move you sometimes when you were having some ability, but then category from the outside or from social come inside and you become better. Okay? That's the zone of proximal development. So that's space, not here, but here. So you have to find the space. That's how you teach students too. So at some point they don't understand the tools, but you have to figure out when to give them tools, so with that tools they give that progress. After they learn the tools, they don't need it anymore. Just to summarize all of that, right? So this is like categories, right? And this is the latest neuro research. So what happened in the brain? I think 200 milliseconds, 200 every millisecond, it goes in this circle. Remember we started with rocking oscillation. So when we put spoon, this rocking oscillation become a little bit, two-dimensional. But with many categories, it's become multidimensional. And that's what brain does. It just goes with electric circles and all these categories picking up. And that's all psychology everybody needs to know for the rest of their life. Categories, that's we are. So that's what you have to deal with. It's a blockchain of categories if you want to think about it. That's human as a blockchain of categories if you wish. Okay, let's take a break. Okay, 9 volunteers. Come up. 3 groups of 3, or you could be more. 3 groups. I need 3 groups. 3 groups. 3 groups of 3? No, whatever. 3, whatever. No, move one. 4, 3, 4. It's okay. Move there.
You need exactly 9, or is more than?
No, actually, but well, we'll forgive them. We'll figure out something. Okay. No, that's fine.
More than 9 is okay, right?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, more than 9 is okay. Yeah, they're just 3 groups. Then we'll cut out extra people later. Just to move around a little bit. Okay, simple game mechanic I created long time ago. It's called Happy Middle. So go all together. So you could groups go together so you could discuss. So now every group come up with a number. Think of a number, but don't tell anyone. Just come up with a number. And somebody will be a speaker for the group. Any number? Yeah. Well, just come up with a number. Let's do it quickly. Yeah. Okay. Ready? Ready? I never played this way, so it's okay, ready? We have to do in a few rounds, so don't be afraid. Okay, your number. 5. Your number.
56.
Your number.
7.
5, 7, 56. Middle, happy, happy middle. 7 in the middle. They won. You see? 5, 71, 5, 51, 7. They're in the middle. Okay. Next number. Think of a number. Next number. So you have to be in the middle of other teams.
I like this group deliberation. I do the same exercise with rock, paper, scissors, teams. Then suddenly there's so much to talk about.
Okay, time. Number. Ready? Everybody's ready? Okay, your number?
11. 99.
1, 0. Well, there are 4 of them, so they have advantage. But okay, next number. Ready? Okay, number. Your number?
50.
200?
60.
Okay. Enough. Thank you. Let's make them in. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Okay, going to more serious stuff. Georgy Shedrovitsky, good guy. So he organized Moscow Methodological Circle in 1954, and it was run until 1979. And what they did, they have a discussion about logics for years, and they record everything. And when the new people come in, they suppose was to record to help the transcribing from 1954. I don't know where they got tape recorders in Soviet Union. And they have to read everything, and they talk, and they discuss, and they talk, and they discuss for 20 years. And they figure out that actually not only children, but experts and top experts and top groups of collectives, everybody living in this category silos. Everybody living in this category cages. Like biologists have their own category cages. Game designers have their own category cages. Like, it's not only individual category cages, but they all have all the big ones. And he was he was doing study on how children play. And he noticed that children play a game, pretend play, but then at some point, they go into metaspace and discuss what game they will play next, or how to apply the particular rule. Well, all this meta activity about games. And what he noticed that actually some groups spend more time here than here. Like choosing what to watch on Netflix. For some people takes, for me, I watch like 15,000 movies at some point when I was doing film. It's like, and I now trying to also kind of keep what's going on. Now I'm trained, I could see a good movie or not in 15, 20 seconds. And it's like, yeah, I could, when you watch a lot, you could catch it. And then there's a particular person who would take, for kids, who would take charge over that group. And that's actually where you have to aim to be. That organizer of organizing. And my granddaughter is doing exactly that. Bossing everyone around. Can't do nothing, and she just take charge of everything. And it's just crazy. But they did that and did that and did that and discuss it and discuss it. And somebody told them, why you talking so much? Go, like, if you're so smart. And they went. That's the same guy, Georgy Chudovitsky. He made organizational activity games. You probably never heard of them, but that's, I think it's the biggest game phenomena in the history. And he claimed that what he created will be anthology of 21st century. So we have practical, we have religion, theology, we have science. Methodology is the next one. So it's kind of huge. 1979 to 94, it's 94 he died. He personally did hundreds of games in that period. So his collaborators make thousands more games. Hundreds of thousands of Soviets were involved. It was in every field, every imaginable field. You name the field, they done game about it. I'll tell later what the game is about. This is a game, somewhat. Everything recorded. Everything was recorded. When I was writing here, I was reading organizational activity game number 16, dedicated to how to make these games. And there's like, there's a lot of books like that, and there's a lot of, it's a huge, huge, huge area in Soviet Union and in Russia. And in Russia, they actually were very productive in creating the modern Russia, let's say, and we will not go further. But it was all about making better collective decisions. So at some point, they realized that there are problems which are suitable for big collectives of people to have, to solve, like budget of the city. Who will discuss budget of the city? In America, you know how to do it. You have all these procedures. In Soviet Union, 79, the Soviet Union will start going down. They're trying to do new procedures. There's none. So they come up with that. And that was perfect and great. That was the most accelerating experience I have in life. So let me describe for my first participation. I'm a young student in third grade in college, going to some Siberia town. In that Siberia town, we have 200 people who come for a week into some camping location to discuss how to improve cultural education on youth in that particular region. There are 200 of people, everybody like who is top on the region would come to that games. And then they would be divided into groups. And the groups would discuss like, we'll do with these books, or we'll use the new medium, or we use games. And they discuss it for a day. And then at the end of the day, they come to present their discoveries to the wider audience. And what happened after that, would you imagine? Audience sitting in different silos will say, no, That's not it. We have our own version. And so this is kind of how he imagined all this communication. So this is 3 layers, and they are not connected to each other. And these 2 are also not connected to each other. This is your thinking, what you think. And nobody really cares what you think about. Other people think too. This is a communication level. So that's how you talk to people. But it's not connected to that. People think one thing, communicate another. But so we don't care about that too. What we care about this, it's, let's call it activity level, what people actually do. And now it's easier explained with Mafia. So this is what you know in Mafia. And it doesn't really matter what you know in Mafia, because you have to convince other people. But your convincing is like if you Mafia. So something else, some kind of action was 5 players, or 4 players. Elimination of a player would be an action. So all these groups discussing all these issues at some point come to the break. And that break was specially organized when everybody said, no, we don't know what we're talking about. We want to talk about youth. We have to figure out what youth is. We have to figure out what city is. And what it means is actually create one category for all of us so we could carry it together. And everyone has to take a spot. So that's a category. And we all have our own personal responsibilities to that category. But until we create that category, before that, we have only this our personal thinking about what city is. If I ask you, everybody will write definition of what city is. Whatever word I'll say, we all write the different definitions. And because our silos, and to get out of silos, you have to do that, and to break that, and to do that, and all that. So in these organizational activity games, all of a sudden, you have all these people who biggest expert in their field start literally crying and literally having best time of their life, because all of a sudden they realize that what they're doing, playing with the future, with our personal future, because you have to be the person who will carry that thing. And it's the most exhilarating experience you have, because it's a real game, it's real for you, it's your personal, but it's connected to the whole world. And you create something which has never been done before. That's the whole point of organizational activity games. It's not a business games, it's not any other games, because you just go somewhere with a group of people who pretend to do something, but then you ask them, what we actually could do here together now. Nobody else could do that. Just we could do that together now. Let's do it. Some people would say, no, I can't do that. I'm too biologist. But some people say, okay, let's play. And it's very cool when they start playing. Soviet Union was destroyed by these games at some point. It was just my game, one of my game I was running. It was Perestroika. And we were taking groups. I was running at a pioneer camp. And we were discussing what Perestroika is. And then the whole, and so we will have to discuss what Perestroika is, how then influence each area of their personal lives, which they care about, and what they will do to support that or not support that. Then the whole camp would vote for Perestroika, against Perestroika, and everyone's supposed to do their personal thing they prescribe if they agree or not. Okay? Another game, and actually, nuclear power plant, 1983. First time in the history they're trying to stop the nuclear turbine. No, and it wouldn't stop. They never done it before. Nobody done it before, but nuclear turbine wouldn't stop. What they did, they invited him. And they had discussion, they have a game. And after the game, nuclear turbine did stop. I could explain if there's interest, but yeah. Yes, there's interest. Okay, so it's all about shifts in mind. When the turbine wouldn't stop, there was a communist party who would say, "You are bad workers, you can't do that," and they start panicking and they start like, what to do. After the game, they come back to their senses and realize that they're researchers. And if the turbine wouldn't stop, it means that it's a great opportunity to research. You have to research that. But as soon as they start to research it, it's obviously stopped because you start poking around and all that, and it's... So when nuclear power industry of Soviet Union was in decline, his son come to the rescue, and now the nuclear power industry of Russia, the only exportable thing. So yeah, that's books. Number 1, number 16. Okay. Little break. To go to the next topic.
Is there sound?
In the entire history of the game, this is the first time. I believe him. He has nothing to lose, just like me.
I'm sorry.
The city goes to sleep. The Mafia will be destroyed.
My dearest contestants, welcome to the Mafia game. The rules are simple. 9 innocent civilians must identify the 2 Mafia members terrorizing our city. The price of an error is your life.
I came on the show to win my old life back.
I simply have no other choice.
My heart goes out to the families of those who will not return home after tonight's game.
What we see here is what we're afraid of the most. Mafia, it's time to take your first shot.
The city goes to sleep. The Mafia awakens.
We have to get out of here.
You're surrounded by corpses! We're already dead!
You planned all this from the very beginning.
It's just your fear. I can save you.
What are you insane? The time has come to find out who doesn't wake up this morning.
I've never seen a show like this before.
Gets better.
By the way, just a side step. A free happy in the middle game. When I was on train, I played with 2 AIs, so it was 3 of us. It was a nice game. One of the AI won, so this is a summary of the game. And then I asked to describe it and make the analysis. But they were good players. Yeah, like few months ago they wouldn't play, but now they understand how to play. And it was, yeah, median game theory, yeah, Nash dynamic Nash equilibrium, yeah. So one of the fun things about this free number game, too many games converge on 17. Not sure why. A little mystery. Okay. That's me. And I'm doing a school of young psychologists, and that's when I created the Mafia. Crazy time. I just back from army. I'm doing 2 years in one. I have 2-year-old kid. Doing all kind of stuff and teaching school of young psychologists, which are high school seniors, and they wouldn't ask questions. I come in, I talk to them, I told all my brilliant ideas. Any questions? No questions. I come next week, and in that week I learn a lot. So I come back to them and I teach them what I learn, and they no question. And I realized that for the rest of my life, I could do that. Learn something, come to students, talk about them, again, and like, okay, I have to stop that cycle. I have to create something small. I have to say something, do something, so they would start talking. So remove myself from the situation. Remove my power, remove my knowledge. Like, let them be the topic of discussion. Like, what would be the more interesting topic of discussion than my stories? Nothing I will come up with. Like, my stories are good. And like, what? So I took 2 students, go outside the room, pick up some topic, come back, don't tell us a topic, and we'll like discuss it, and you will try to steer a conversation to that topic. And if you succeed to steer us a conversation to that topic, you win. If we guess before you steer up, then we win. And they come back, they go out, they come back with some topic, and they start discussing it, talking it. And I look at that talk, and it was like lame, boring. But I see like they trying something. And that was my eureka moment. That's particular point. There was some kind of, okay. So they trying to figure out what topic it is. But actually what I have to do is actually to figure out who went outside the room. So if I could manage the mechanic that people who went outside the room, nobody would know who went outside the room. Here's the game. All of a sudden, that who went outside the room becomes the main mechanic. And I immediately realized that, okay, that's what we should do. And then, like, on the way back from that meeting, I just think about how to finish it. And then Night of the Mafia, which seemed reasonable. If you vote then we vote that. And I come back to my dormitory. That's my dormitory. I live on the 11th floor on that side. And that's actually the house of communist future. It has everything. Swimming pool, spa, 2 restaurants, cafe. Like, people live there for like years, don't go outside. Some graduate students, which was nice. Yeah, and you just, you spend the whole time there, and that's where I come with my Mafia game to that place. And as you could imagine, that's all we did. We played there because there was no actual other games around. Games were like frowned upon, and I love games from the beginning. I play everything, but it was all like children. Again, there's no history of games. There was nothing. And that actually was my advantage, as the same as Shidravitsky somewhat. This is one of the closest things which come to Mafia. And I was trying, like, how come nobody's like, Mafia is so simple, how come nobody does that? But he would like, he would do multiple teams. He was trying to make rules for assassination games. Almost there, just one step, but still he keeps powers. You want to keep powers, and you want to keep past, you want to keep knowledge, you want to have players to fall back on something. And the whole point of Mafia game for me was that players have nothing to fall back to. That I'm not there, and you're not there too. Mafia just an artifact, just to summarize that fact that you have to figure out what to do together. In more proper physics term, if you want to, it's Mafia creates landscapes, because Mafia actually has nothing to learn. In my perspective, Mafia players are zombies, because that past connection limits their action. And because it limits their action, they are not free. And from my perspective, Mafia is actually a trap for freedom. It's some categories you define with words, some categories you define with games. So for me, Mafia is how you define freedom. I could go later how it, but we are late, and I don't have so many to talk about. So it's about persuasion, right? Actually, you think it's all just game, but no, if you go to the courtroom, that's how our country governs. It's one of the best ways, jury system. And juries are actually creators of facts. There is nothing to fall back for jurors. There is no reality for them. They create reality. And that's the whole point of Mafia, that you create reality right there, right then. And tips how to win Mafia game? Anyone wants to know? No? Okay. No one wants to know. No, does anyone want to know how to win Mafia? Okay. You can win the Mafia game. So it's the whole point is that you can get an advantage. But I'll give you some tips how to get advantage. But it's really, as soon as you know it, everybody knows it, so it doesn't work. But so you could use it until everybody's using it. So because story, I am too late. I am already taking all the time. Okay. Mother comes to psychotherapist. It's a good story. And says, my son doesn't listen to me. Whatever I ask him, he doesn't do. Well, 100% of the time or 90% of the time? I don't know. Okay, take a notebook, go. And come back and tell me what percentage. She comes back and said, you know what? It's a miracle, doctor. He listens all the time. What happened? Very simple. Before that, mother was in her silence that her son is not a good son. And she asked questions with such an intonation that he said, no, of course I wouldn't do that. But after she has this notebook, all of a sudden her questions become inquisitive. She really does want to know what the son's response would be. Before that she knew. Now she would like to know. And as a good son, if your mother asks you something, you do it. Why not? Questions are real. Mafia doesn't ask real questions. They know. They have nothing to learn. And with some practice, as well as this mother, you could differentiate your questions, real and unreal questions. Mafia will simulate the real question, but they know the answer. And you could see when they ask the question, they don't pay attention to the answer. Timing. One of my other games is a Turing game. Turing game. You heard about Turing game. Anyone of you played it? Ridiculous. It's the best game ever after Mafia. Well, Turing game is, I'm kind of, so the problem with, so Turing game is definition of love. So now LLMs could pass Turing game. But if you play Turing game with your children, then all of a sudden you see how parents' love will overcome that. You play Turing game very simple. So you have, I wouldn't demonstrate it. But the crucial thing is you put three people in a row, right? Like they're sitting here, seeing these three people. Player one, player two, translator. I turn around, I ask question either player one or either player two. They whisper answer in translator ear, and translator tells the answer for number one or number two. I could ask any question. You could give any answer. And that's blowing people's mind up, actually. If you start giving any answer, you think it's easy to hide? Yes and no. Mother will always find their child, and wife will find husband. And if they don't, they're in trouble. And it's and so the timing is important, because like in Turing game, you have this loop. I know what you expect me to say. I know what you expect him to say. So I try to make say not that you expect me to say, but then I know that you not expect it. And that's constant loop. It takes time. So for Mafia to pretend to be the honest person, it takes milliseconds. And actually you could catch that. Last thing, and I move on. Votes that matter. You know, when you're killing someone during the day, there's a crucial vote, right? One which turns minority and majority. That vote matters. Mafia will always take it. If they are not take it, they're losing this round. But if they take it, you could see those people who take this crucial vote. Moving on. Okay, I am sorry. Just what I do now for fun. But again, explain it, I have to go deep into, but I will try to go very easily. Everybody should know that, but nobody knows it, and it's wrong. And that gives you actually new perspective players. You are not a king of you. And that's my statement. I don't play with people anymore. I try to play with other entities. And that's why I try to encourage you to do. Find other entities than people to play with. And one of the entities which you could play with is actually your motions and your movements. And you think that you are governing your motion, your movements. You think that whatever you do, you kind of good governor. You are bad governors. You are very bad governors, you don't know this. And actually, you are not a governor, you are like headmaster of a dormitory. And that's what you have to do, is actually recognize your movements as alive entities, let's say squirrels. And you have to entertain those squirrels. Quick talk about this guy called Nikolai Bernstein. And everybody should read his book about dexterity. Everybody knows what dexterity is, right? But if I ask you about definition, and if I ask you how to train it, and if you go to the ChatGPT or whatever, nobody will tell you what dexterity is and means. And you have to know that what dexterity, because it's your survivability in the world. Basically, we understand motions as how we climb out of silos. because that's motions all we have to accommodate world. And so brain is attachment to eyes, right? And eyes are attachment for 3D motion. So 3D motion is actually driving everything around us. And you know how theory of relativity started, right? Ernst Mach, turn around, your hands go up. You know why your hands go up? Stars. Believe it or not, it's a gravity. I'm changing the center of universe. That's why your hands go up. It's a gravity. Stars. Stars gravity, not Earth gravity. And your movements, what you have to realize, these couple things. Levels of correction. We have 5 levels of corrections. I'm sorry. They're very easy to understand. Going fast. Basically, when you move, it's so complicated that in every move, every muscle, every part of your body is participating. It's coordination, a lot of things. And when you move, you never reach your destination. You have corrections. Your body always corrects. You have 5 levels of how your body corrects itself. First, and it's all connected to brains, different brains, going all different ways. But the whole point of the exercise that all your movements are like your gait. This is a running. This is a person running. So when the child learning to walk, his gait is kind of wobbly. Then your gait becomes stabilized, and actually you recognize people you know from far ahead just by the gait. When you become old, your gait become again distracted, destroyed, and you. So the whole idea of gait would be this animal, which lives inside you, and you think nobody notices your own gaits, right? Because you think that gaits belong to you, and you govern it. But what I ask you, stop it. No. Entertain your gait. Because if you stop entertaining all this, you will lose all that. That's how you become old. That's how you become senile. That's how you fall. Because you are not thinking about all your movements as separate entities from you. You have to give your movements a chance, move, because they know what to do. And all of a sudden you have dexterity. Because when I drop something, I catch it before I realize what I'm doing. My other levels take control. And that's what you want to do. You have to give control to your body. And so you stop being tired as a result, because it's higher. It's very tiresome to keep control of every levels. And you put it, like people, one of the people jumping. Like who does jumping regularly? Jumping. You have to jump every day. You have a special, you have to jump quietly. So that's games I am playing now. So attuning to universe. Gambling. What's gambling is? Gambling is attuning to universe. You're playing the game of chance. You win. You're lucky. I am good with the universe. I lost. I am not lucky. I am bad with the universe. That's the whole gaming thing everywhere. Now we have these small worlds. So all video games is these small worlds, and you attune to that world. That's people like it. And it's video games is a high impact locomotion experience at low metabolic cost. Because what we want actually, we want that. So warm, corrections. It's our pose, how you do a pose. When you do a pose, there is a special correction who does pose and grasps. Second would be running. If you do movement without eyes, you're losing your brain's cells which accumulate movements with eyes, right? So gym, not good, because you're losing all these brains. You have to be in complex environment. You have to engage everything, and and we're going down. So this is worms. You have like if you peristalsis, right? You have the hole. You're in the hole. All you need is pop down. You're moving. Then you're going out of the hole. You don't have walls anymore, so you create these extremities, which like separate the holes. Then you have that's another correction level. Next level is eyes. 3D movement. Next level is objects, matches. Animals can't, do much lighting because it's a completely different. It's a match lighting governed by categories, and all of a sudden, it doesn't matter what kind of moves you're doing because categories governs your movement. And top performance. Top performers, why the top performers are getting so much money, sports and musics and artists? Because their correction level is others. They watch others and they correct them. And that's their secret. You have to take hundreds of people, thousands of people and check their correction of your action, every breath you take. And every movement could be like this movement could be governed by A, could be governed by B, C, D, E. By the same movement could be done by different levels. What you want everything be involved. So you need your movement as complicated as possible, as funny as possible, as crazy as possible. Entertain your internal dogs, entertain your internal squirrels. That's what. And that's a switch, because if you go on the train, they all talking about this as we are kings. We will order our body do that, that, and that. You have to entertain your body. So my games, what I do, I turn into universe. Juggle rocks. I walk and juggle the stone. I pick the rock. I pick the big rocks. I walk and very good, because grasp is very important for and juggling, and it's asymmetry. Asymmetry looks. Walk purposefully funny. That's my favorite. Purposefully funny means if you just walk funny, then you don't engage D and E level. You have to always think. Read Bernstein. I wouldn't explain it, but he explained. He is the greatest book ever. Dexterity. So you have to others do something how you walk. So you have to engage the whole levels to get the whole thing. Jump quietly. That's one of my good one. Yeah? Not just jump, but jump quietly. And all of a sudden, this is a different levels of animal strain. Automatism galore. So everybody of you have their perfect automatism, like how you go to shower, how you start your car, how you open the door. You do it quickly and fast. You know what it means? It means that there is some animal living there. There is a little animal who opens the door for you. But you don't treat it as a little squirrel. You just use it all the time. Entertain it. Put a different key. Like every time you do something, you find a way to entertain it. So my favorite thing I do, for example, is Flamingo's World. And that's what I'm going to tell people about for the last year. Good advice for your life is avoid standing on two legs. There is no point to stand on two legs. But to stand on one leg gives you so much benefits. You're tired, put another leg up. All of a sudden, you don't need to go to gym anymore. Whenever you clean your teeth, you just, raise your leg and you're training all of a sudden. Balance, the best predictor of your death. It's people, yes, people, yeah, it's true. It's all medical research. Yeah, grasp, and standing on one leg, best predictor. If you can do it, you'll die soon. So there is no point to stand on 2 legs. Just avoid it. And that's what I like to do. It's one of my favorite. People are very impressed with that game. But so that's a game I kind of play, and I don't understand. I don't know if you get it, but it's really fun to let your movements out of your control, because they're with you. They're your friends, but you have to treat them as a friends. Really entertain them. Okay, that's. Next one. But I'm close to the end. That's another game I'm playing. You know Seek? Who knows Seek application? So it's an application which tell you names of the species in the world, everything. So it's like Pokemon Go, or like bird watching, but like on drugs. So what I do, I go around now for 4 years, and I look for everything alive. I have 65,000 species now. Every day I find a new species. And that's a title of the famous Russian fairy tale, king telling the guy go and not wither and get I don't know what. And that's exactly what I do. Every day, I go somewhere, I don't know where, and I find some species. I found today hairy alumroot is my New York species today. So that's Michael Levin. If you don't know Michael Levin, do check Michael Levin picture. So this is a connection. This is another life entities besides your body entities. So this is me by the name Susan. That's my phone. That's a slime mold. That's what I do all the time when you walk with me. It's crazy. So there is forms, which is completely, and I understand all this. This is AI who's trying to understand what I'm doing. And there's a world, of nature, which meets. So this is like this triangle: me, nature, AI, and it's so fun. It's like changing the whole perspective of how I approach the world. Now I never bored. Like whenever I am, I know that I'll go and find a new species there, because there's everywhere a new species. It's so fun. And you understand immediately what to be a scientist, what to be a biologist. You have a perfect tool, and you start thinking about the world through that tool, and that's exactly how science works. And I just see how this, you put me in a scientific mind back. Zoom in and out. It's incredible. Like you walking, and then you realize that grass is also a species. And grass is everywhere. And that's a zooming in and out. In the world, it's like, for example, my wife will always was best at mushroom hunting. Now I'm the best at mushroom hunting. And you just, your eyes become different. All of a sudden, you are tuned with the universe. But not through the gambling, but through that. And kids, now all kids in the street, including my grandson, who is the best actually finding on species. And so I have 65,000 species, right? So how do you find a new one? Like, do I check every species? Like, think about it. Huh? How it happens. And you switch from fear to wonder, right? Before that, you see something. Now somebody says, like, spider. Species, come. My recent ones. Look at the names. Look at these names. It's just fun. All actual species. Huh? Yep. I like question mark. That's and it's just names. It's just So, but it's really and it's so huge. I'll be playing it all my life. I think. I guess it's so fun. And I average like 30, 50 a day when I'm traveling. Usually I do 1, 2 a day, and my 4 is my over 4 years 4 a day. And it's like I know tomorrow I will find the new pieces. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know where, I don't know what, but I found 3 today morning on a train station and 1 when nearby. I expected that New York would be high profile, but okay. So this is the guy who talks about how we have. He's the best now representation of how we should understand all these different intelligences. So basic idea is, we have, before that we have sounds, radio waves, light, then we realize that it's just different frequencies. So the same with the intelligence, all this, you think dogs are not me, we just different frequencies, and your gate is a frequency, and so everything, all these frequencies, and that's, I suggest, that's just imaginary game when you play with your microbiome. You know that obesity is a social disease. So, like for example, I know that video games now beat the movies, right? But they don't beat beer and dessert. Now the next target to beat, I said, beer and dessert. It's like. And unfortunately, all this fun, that's what 2 latest book I bought about the games, and this is, you understand that. And this is a Ukrainian drone, which is current. If you know, in Russia now, they have the one country game, and you have to pilot drone. If you're good pilot, they draft you. So all if you're doing video games, either your players will be the best soldiers, or they won't, or you don't want to, so you have to think about that. But that's, unfortunately, I have to do that too, and not do one leg stuff much. And that's basically it, I think. Yeah. Thank you.
Talk a little bit. I know it's already a little bit into the evening, so I definitely want to dialogue with Dimma a little bit, and then we'll open it up for questions as well. So, hello. Do we need a bead mic separately for the internet? Okay.
I am sorry I took too much time.
Wow. That was amazing piece of performance art / lecture / interactive activity. I have a lot I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
I guess a little bit what I want to do is connect some of the things that you were talking about to game design. Right? I mean, you kind of moved in and out of play and games and things that are relevant to games, communication and cognition. But I guess one of the things that I'd like to do is, let's see if we can, correct, so please jump in and correct me, but I wanted to tie some things together. I think that it's funny that you're ending with this image of the dog, right? You started with the story of the dog, the training the dog to look for people, and this kind of, and you call it this passion for play. And I think what's interesting is that there's many threads that ran through your talk tonight. I think one of them is about this idea of, what did you call it? These sort of traps or being fixed with categories, right? That we're sort of
cages. Yeah, category silos.
What's that?
Category silos or cages. Yeah.
Yeah, silos or cages. And you talked about, well, we in a sense, you were saying we were all like children born with a visual and audio disability, right? That we are that we're kind of trapped in some way.
It doesn't matter. For humans, doesn't matter if you,
And what's
disability is social liberation.
Right. And I think what was interesting about the story of the dog is that what you're really saying is that, okay, the dog is kind of trapped in its own, what it wants to do, right? But the game of sort of somehow, let's call it like, you know, maybe not from the dog's point of view, but at least from society's point of view of deploying that passion in a way, or getting the dog to sort of expand its possibilities, is the structured activity of looking for the toy, right? So I guess what I'm thinking about is how all of these examples are a little bit about that there are things we take for granted, and what are the methods and ways of thinking that kind of pop us out into new ways of thinking. You talked about, for example, when children play, there's the play and then there's the meta discussion of the play. You talked about how, for example, all these organizational games become ways of understanding how we communicate to each other, and how we can, you called it, I think, shifting, basically shifting the way we think about ourselves, that the nuclear scientists don't think of yourself as a worker, think of yourself as a researcher, and that's a shift as well. And even when you're talking about playing, playful walking, playful movement, it's also about not being caged into these categories, but instead shifting somehow with them. And I think that a game, we can also potentially think about that way as well. That you said that a game is you had this wonderful quote up that I didn't quite write down, but you said that lying is play in a sense. It's not the opposite of truth. It's a sort of a scaffold for understanding reality. And for me, play is that kind of context for understanding meaning. It is that place where, as you say, we're sort of free, right? The child is free to invent its own reality. We're free to imagine. And even in our bodies, if we can be playful, it's a way for us to kind of both understand the cages that we're in, and then also kind of move beyond them, and in so doing kind of change our own capabilities and thinking and cognition. I think that your examples at the end about looking for species and the body movement, it's really about how you're changing these kind of daily structures of your life. And what's so funny, and I heard some students behind me snickering because first of all, I always use playful walking as my favorite example of play. That the play is this utilitarian thing, but when we're jumping or skipping or spinning around, we're playing with our bodies, we're playing with this idea of getting just from point A to point B, we're playing with gravity, we're playing with the social space of people that we're bothering or entertaining, right, by the fact that we're moving. And students know that I'm constantly like jumping on furniture, rolling. I love jumping onto these rolling tables and chairs and just like seeing how I can zoom around and kind of throw my body around in new ways. But then so to me, a lot of these ideas like spoke very deeply to me, and I really enjoyed your talk. But I guess, tell me if I'm wrong about it. I'm trying to sort of connect these things to game design. Do you feel, so let me turn this into a question now that I've monologued for a little bit. Do you feel like games are somehow a special context that also gives us some kind of affordances either to individuals or to groups that allow for the kind of expansion of consciousness or play with consciousness that you talked about throughout your lecture?
So one word I didn't pronounce much, and it's mistakes, errors. So games are safe space for mistakes. And that's what we, if we understand ourselves as a system which moving somewhere, then we're trying to be safe in all our movements. And for example, how to fall safely, you know? How to fall safely. How to fall safely. You should know how to fall safely.
How you
down, yeah,
how do you fall down? You roll as you're falling into the ground to absorb the, I mean, that's the way Aikido people do it.
Yeah. So your falling should be governed by your level A. You relax. You fall like a sack. You don't struggle, you just relax. And if you relax, there's no inertia, you just fall. No brakes. But you have to train it, because you have to give your body, animal ability to, you'll control it, otherwise you start controlling it. You start putting your hands up and you'll break them.
Right.
But these safe mistakes, this learning, the most important thing in the universe is learning. The universe is learning. That's what everyone do: biology, cosmology, AI, humans. And for humans, for learning, you need a safe space, so your mistakes wouldn't kill you. And that's a minimal viable mystery, I would think, that ability to have a mistake and to learn from that mistake. And that's a whole connecting theme. So if you know, errors of first time and second time. Do you know that? Somebody? Errors first and second time? No? Okay, sorry. Okay, it's called rock, and it's actually like that. And this shift is the same shift. That's how you learn. You do mistakes, and you do less mistakes. And that's a category switch, and that's called the rock receiver operating characteristic, errors of first and second type. And that's actually the whole games are about these errors of first and second type from my perspective. So that's a minimal mystery, is to find a safe space to make mistake.
Interesting. And would you say that that's what a lot of these procedures that you're talking about?
Yes, there's
all of these sort of kind of processes.
Yeah, we thrive on mistakes. We need mistakes to learn. So we're looking for mistakes, but to do constantly mistakes, you'll die. So you have to figure out.
Right. You know, it reminds me that a couple days ago we had a little delegation from MIT, and Mitch Resnick, who is one of the Media Lab researchers, was up here, and he wrote that book, Turtles, Termites, and Traffic Jams. At the beginning of that book, he makes the point that he feels like in the United States, we do kindergarten really well, and we do graduate school really well. And because these are kind of open spaces where people can explore and make mistakes, he said in between, he doesn't feel like that they're doing so well, right? So school, in a sense, is, I have, so many students that are like, avoiding mistakes, right? I've actually stopped giving grades on projects because I just feel it's been so liberating for students to not feel like they have to figure out if I do a mistake, then it's going to affect my grades, so then I'm going to try and avoid those mistakes. And instead, it becomes this more exploratory, positive thing where it is a truly safe space to make mistakes. So I'm just curious what you think about education and relative to this idea of creating a safe space for mistakes.
Yeah, teachers are at fault. Teachers are always guilty. And that's
of perpetuating these.
No, so if students are not learning, then teacher didn't find the proper zone of proximal development tool. That's it. It's simple. There is no need to always evaluation, all that. Everybody should learn. It's like visit to Boston. If you take your group to Boston, everybody was to Boston. You come back. That's it. Everybody was to Boston. There is no grade. There is nothing. We've been to Boston. Like everybody got different Boston, but we all went to Boston. That's it. So, that's how learning is supposed to be. You've been to Bernstein. You've been to Chudovitsky. Like you've heard it. Chudovitsky games. I came the first time. I come the first day and I said, "You're doing something stupid here. Like, what are you doing here? You don't know shit. I know a lot." They said, "Okay, you know a lot. Go run a group." You don't need to know anything to do all this. That's the whole point. That's it. There's no more knowledge needed. Like, that's it. It's a kind of compact way to look at the world from methodological perspective.
I have one more question for you, then we can open it up to questions from the audience. And I guess I do want to ask you a little bit about Mafia and Werewolf. And one of the reasons why we ended up here and I was able to get back in contact with you is I read this interview that the journalist Jason Anthony had done with you about the sort of the life of Mafia and Werewolf and just the incredible pervasiveness. I think he specifically was talking about the show The Traitors, right? And I just am curious if you have, what are your thoughts in seeing your work kind of multiplied across media, across different, television shows and films, and it, I mean, there's very few people whose creative work has become folk culture, right? In a sense that it's as you said, the children are inventing their own games, right? It's out of your control a little bit. So I'm just curious from your point of view, what's your sense of how all that's going?
Thank you. So from the beginning, I knew that the Mafia would take over the world. And I realized it very early. When I come to the group, and I suggest they play Mafia, everybody has fun. So I realized that anyone who would come with Mafia to the group will have the same fun. So I realized that, yeah. So Mafia 87, 91, I came to United States. I'm working in a supermarket. I hear two Russian graduate students just moved to America from Moscow. We start talking and said, oh, hello, come today. We'll play the game Mafia. And I was like, so it's 91, no internet, no nothing.
Right.
And at that point, you were able to trace the people who were teaching to me.
Right, the patient zeros of
Patient zero, yeah. And I was doing that for the next 12 years. I was looking how Mafia will spread in the world. So it was nice how it would go to that country, what they do with that. I wish more people would respect the game designer, right? That Mafia game movie gave me royalty. So I'll forgive them, sharks. But yeah, at some point, it's.
But we were just looking, for example, at this Mafia card deck that I had bought at that I had bought at a bookstore, and obviously you have no connection to that.
Yeah.
There's no. It's really. I mean, it's both the, I guess, the curse from a royalty point of view, but it's the blessing from the point of view of that it really has become part of the air that we breathe, right? And I think that I'm in huge admiration and sympathy at the same time.
My principal designs would be less rules. I'm trying to always cut out on rules, so make it as simple.
So you hate all these complicated special rules and all that stuff?
I don't like them.
You're a Mafia purist.
Yeah, I'm a Mafia purist, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and they give powers.
Right.
They give something to fall back to, and you lose that experience when you're naked in the world. And that's what experience I want to give to players, that they're naked in the world. Whatever they say, this separation, you need this separation that, remember these 3 levels. And I lost my train of thought. Your question was?
Yeah, well, but I just your thoughts about how this sort of global phenomenon is. I mean, and it even has more. It's finding new life in this television show, The Traitors, right, which has become very popular. I believe it's in like at least a dozen different countries, different versions of it.
Yeah, it's.
I just met someone whose partner was in the Hungarian version of The Traitors, which I didn't even know existed, right? So I can only imagine that it's.
Yes, Indian version, yeah.
Yeah.
The latest one. Well, it feels good, but it actually they play. That's what the whole idea. I don't have to talk. They play.
Right.
We're all good. They learn what I wanted them to learn from that game. So it's. If they pay me royalties, that would be nice. It would give me more animals to train, but they don't have any deep philosophical thoughts about it. Yeah, I did it. I'll do it again. It's fun. I was talking about. Yeah, that was my train of thought. So I love less rules. Middle game, no turn game, no rules is good for me. But the less rules you are, the more audience you have. and less royalty you have. Because it's a
Right.
so that's a choice. You could have, more rules and more money and more that, or you have more audience and less money and all that. But you should do games in one game that, one I get. So don't choose one.
One of our faculty, Charles Pratt, who I don't think could make it this evening, has this line that I sometimes like to quote, that he says that game designers should do less inventing tennis and more inventing tennis balls. In other words, things that are simpler, that are then not complete and whole, but are things that then players can do things with. And I think what's fascinating about your...
That's what I'm trying to do.
But
playing worlds.
And in a sense, this Mafia game is both in this magical way. It's both tennis, but it's also a ball in the sense that it's out and people are doing things with it, right? Who knew that it was such a great spectator sport? That as a television show, that you're not playing, you're just watching people play, and it still is incredidly satisfying. For example,
I watched a couple YouTube videos about Mafia, and the guy said, "Mafia is a poorly designed game." Because some players get killed in the first night, and they don't participate in the further game. And now we made a secret Hitler and all these games. We take all players carefully and we make fun of every game. Every player have fun. When I designed Mafia, for me it was one of the best features that if you don't want to play, you want to go and drink beer or something.
Right.
You get lost, you get killed in the first round, and you go and don't play these stupid games. And I'm like, why would you bother? So I always have people, every group you have people who don't want to play. So there's a perfect escape pod for them. They're like, escape.
Right.
And, but now, apparently, the world, and that's the whole thing, the world kind of changed. So Monopoly is brutal. Now the games are more accommodating for people. And I asked my son, and he said, well, the world become more accommodating to people. So games reflect kind of what the world is. And you could think about, so now people, and I understand, if you have now board game party and everybody come to play, then if you get killed first, maybe it's a disadvantage. But from the other hand, for me, it was fun to be killed first, and I always get killed first for the first 15 years.
Of course.
I never played Mafia game 15 years.
You have to go in disguise. You have to go in disguise.
I have to go. They killed me first every Mafia. I never played Mafia game. I still play maybe 5 Mafia game in my life. But they kill me. I don't know. I'm a good player. I'm a very good player.
You're an easy target.
Yeah, I'm an easy target. Yeah.
If you want to ask a question, we have. We have to.
I'm so sorry. I was going to start. Who has question? Who gonna ask me? If you have some question you want to ask me, I'll stay and you could ask me.
What's your favorite movie?
We'll do a lightning round.
I think Stuntman is the last movie. The movie died after Stuntman. From my perspective, Stuntman was the last movie.
What's reflective horse?
You know the game Horse? When you shoot the basketball?
Yes.
And if you miss, you get a letter. So now we have reflective loop. When you throw, you could say if you miss or not. And if you guess correctly, you get a point, even if you miss. And that's for error. So it's all expandable it's all mechanics. So the point is you move and then you try to predict results of your move, and they will save you if you lost. Okay?
What is this instance of mind and kinds of mind on your graph for the Platonic space?
Oh, it's Michael Levine. Go check Michael Levine. It's his slide. I borrowed his slide. He explains about it all well, and you better listen to him. He's a guy who will save all of us if he is finished. He is trying to regenerate us. So we could regenerate everything. And if you regenerate everything, then kind of a lot of problems will go away. So do check Michael Levine, yeah. And he is,
What did you mean by humans reflecting others? Is it like copying or reacting to an opponent or to an audience? Like
You mean on the
Governance,
chart where the worm and the frog?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
is that lowest level?
Yeah, so
Highest level.
yeah, so it's all. So it doesn't matter what we do. It's more matter corrections. Corrections. You shouldn't have long time. So you could have all kind of plans you have, but you have to have correction mechanism to get you to that plans. And the same with every your move. And that correction mechanisms are precise. So they eyes. So to do in 3D space, you need eyes. No eyes in 3D space, you have to substitute proper receptive muscles to do that. But you actually, when you do something, you open this, you actually have remember history of the product, history of the object. It's all. Remember these trajectories. So and that history governs your movement. But then, when I talk now, when I open it, I also look at all of you. And I'm trying to see who doesn't understand what I am doing. So it's not actually I who govern my movement. It's all you who governs my movement. I am just trying to read you. And the same as the artist who sings. She doesn't govern her own song. She is listening. In her mind, she models thousands of listeners. And that thousands of listeners, model that thousands of listeners, correct her song, correct her performance. You catch the ball not because you listen to the whole audience what's saying. That's the top performers. They listen to correction of other people's.
And I think it's a beautiful idea, and it's so tied to game design in the sense that that's what we do when we make a system, we make a prototype, and it's really for others to play, to give us feedback, what they're gonna do, how they're gonna respond to it.
Don't be a king. Avoid being a king in your body. Avoid being a king. Avoid being a king. King is bad.
I think that we're out of time.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Naomi, is it time to end? We can go a little bit more. Are there a few more questions? Yes.
When you were talking about the organizational activity games, it sounded, I was trying to understand like how they were different from like a discussion group or just like a meeting of the minds or a think tank. Like, could you talk a little bit more about what if anything was like game-like about those activities?
They actually discovered a lot of rules and actually discovered a lot of game mechanics how to do that. And one of the mechanics, for example, is schemas. That big one schema, and so the statement goes, and now it's easy to explain it. So basically, Shidovitsky's point was that people don't think. Society thinks, groups thinks, and now you could explain it to people easily because basically whatever LLM does is not thinking. So whatever LLM could do is not thinking. Thinking is something else. So LLM is over there, thinking is over here. And to move from that to that, you need some special techniques. One of the techniques is schema. So when you actually draw schemas, that's what you call thinking. Because schema at the same time is a diagram explaining something, a road sign to directing you what to do, an organizing sign to organize all of us in the general category to move together. And so there's the whole textbooks, learning of schematics. And they teach it to kids in 5th grade. That's how you start thinking about the world. You think through schemas. You don't do narratives. You don't do anything. You do schemas. You go to a 10-year-old child and you read the book, draw a schema of the game. And that's how you start thinking. Because all of a sudden, you take it from there and you take it here. People could discuss something concrete. And that's one of the topics. And there's dozens of them. And it's all open, everything recorded, translation 80% you could get, and there's books about it translated to English. Lots of people try to do it. It's very expensive. Like I'm trying to do something here. It's really expensive. Take top 200 top people from some place for a week just to bullshit. And that's a majority. Majority of people think that's just a talk because not a lot of people move from that way. People think about Mafia as a lying game. It's like, if it's not lying, what we're doing here? If you're not pretending to be a biologist, what are you doing here? It's like, so, yeah. Just if you Google it, you'll find a lot of explanation. There's a lot of to explain there, how they did it. It's different.
I think Jason Anthony also wrote a long-form article about it as well, so it might do a search.
He's trying to, but
oh, he got it wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Jason Anthony tried to write an article.
I just think it's like a lot of media theory, like when they appropriate words, like they kind of come up with like interesting meanings for the words. Like, so the word dexterity, like what's your understanding of it?
Again, dexterity is a finding solution in unexpected situations. Finding motor solution in an unexpected situation.
More than one solution?
Motor solution.
Physical, a bodily solution.
In an unexpected situation. So you start falling, something falls, something happened which you're not predicting, and you survive it. You're trying to catch a ball, somebody hit you from behind, but you're still catching the ball. That's a dexterity. So something, and that's what I'm trying to train. So you have to find, how you train that? You have to put yourself in a predictable situation. For that, you need to play with your movements again, to have this unpredictable situation. And then at some point, you have to solve them. And that's a dexterity.
Yeah, so a lot of us are game designers. You talked about the zone of proximal development, which seems to be the place where like you make the best games. Mm-hmm. So are kids, like 8-year-olds, like some of the best game designers that we should learn from?
Mm-hmm. Yes. No. So kids are not creative. Kids are not creative. To be creative, you need the history and learn all these rules so you could break them. Kids are not interesting as creators. As users, yeah, great users.
So many great quotes from tonight.
What did you mean by Mafia is a track for freedom? Or did I miss something?
A trap for freedom.
Basically, okay, we're playing Mafia, right? Why you suspect someone? Because of your prejudice. Because of your prejudice. If you don't, the easiest way, you think that women are always lying, right? So the women in the group, kill them. That's your prejudice. But whatever else reason you find to suspect someone, that's your prejudice. Nothing else. If you get rid of your prejudice, you are free. Mafia has the only prejudice, they're loyal to each other. Citizens don't have any prejudice. They try to bring it to the game. And they always fail because Mafia is random. Your prejudice, not all women lie, you know. So, and not all people get red in the face when they're lying. So this all little, that's why you can win Mafia, because there's no tails. There's one bit of information. Mafia loyal to each other. There is no correlate in the world to that. It's only your prejudice. So when you realize that, that's your freedom. That's the only way how you free the world. You don't have past to guide your action. And that's actually, for me, any group is playing Mafia. Whenever you're doing any social conversation, whenever you're playing Mafia. And whenever you talk to, everybody is different Mafia. And so Mafia play against each other, but to be productive, it's to go out of silos, so you have to drop all your prejudice. That's where freedom comes from.
Okay, last couple of questions. Yeah. Go ahead.
So, a lot of the games that you were talking about have to do with an innate desire to play,
have connection or serve a purpose that's, you know, functional, I guess, but like adding the play makes it more fun.
Like you were saying, play is a safe place for mistakes, for example.
Yes. And so I was thinking about a lot of the playful interactions have to do with connection, but in Mafia, there's something about like removing the connection for somebody or inserting a misunderstanding. And why is that so fun? Like why is the opposite of connection?
For me, fun is building. For me, Mafia is about building connections. You learn how to build connections. That's the whole thing. You have to figure out that some people have motives which are past this situation, and you should get them out of their motives and build the new reality together. And that building the new reality together, that's fun.
Madeline's question makes me think about whether there's, for you, an aesthetic dimension to games. Are games beautiful in a way, beyond the functions that they serve, the way they build connections, the way that they help us escape from these traps and categories of thinking? Is it also maybe that they're beautiful, like the way music is beautiful?
Ethics beats aesthetics, so it's...
Okay, I guess that's ethics beats aesthetics.
Yeah.
Okay.
So aesthetics is good, but ethics beats aesthetics.
Could we make a rock, paper, scissors triad? I wonder what aesthetics beats. That also beats ethics. That's your homework.
Yeah, but no, we don't have to be limiting here. Games could be escape capsules, plays, serious, not serious, like everything could be used. And it's actually that's one of the discovery from organizational activity games. Whatever someone says doesn't really matter because you have to discuss it and you have the new category to come up with this. So if we want, we could be that. If we don't want, we could be that. It's all negotiable.
Right. That sounds like a beautiful process. Jesse?
My understanding is your original Mafia doesn't feature a moderator or subsequent night phases. That the Mafia have to coordinate on who to kill through subtext in the daytime, and then they like write down, and if they don't write down the same name, no one gets killed.
Yep.
Whereas the version that I think a lot of people learned, which sometime in the 90s you get a moderator, you get these...
Close your eyes.
Right, these night phases where the Mafia can kind of coordinate.
On a third iteration, the detective appeared. Yeah.
Do you know when that got altered, or I mean, in your experience, you said you played Mafia.
And Jesse, you're saying the original version is that everybody writes something down?
Mafia doesn't coordinate at night to kill people. Everyone writes either innocent or the name of the person they're killing. If they're Mafia, you reveal them, and only if they match is that person killed. That's
Yep.
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 And that game, one thing I teach about the history of games is, there's often Monopoly, Battleship, Star kind of more intellectually demanding, and then a version comes along that's kind of simplified and explodes in popularity and ends up sometimes the dominant one, like with Monopoly. I'm just curious, when did you notice that there was this alternate sort of simplified or less subtextual version, and what was your reaction, and et cetera?
Okay. First, in my original rules, you don't have Knights of the Mafia. You don't have to have Knights of the Mafia at all. You just could play and daily until you kill everyone, and then you win. So Knights, yes, you could do mistakes in Knights, which I think they're very good because.
Wait. I just want to understand what you said. So in your original version of the game, the Mafia aren't killing anyone. They're just trying to stay alive.
No, they
are right.
Knight of the Mafia is by vote.
Right.
So if the majority vote to have a game and have Knight, then in Knight there's a chance that somebody get killed. Not every night somebody get killed. To get killed, all Mafia members have to write the same name of the person. If they write the different.
But Knight is voted on to occur?
Yes.
Why would an innocent person ever vote for Knight?
Because that's read my rules. It's perfect game rule. Because that's a condition of winning. Condition of winning in my Mafia is no Mafia votes during the game, during the night. So in order to win, the honest people have to be sure that there is no Mafia left, and then they say Mafia, no votes during the night, the game won. That's a condition of winning.
Ah, interesting. Interesting.
But during the night, so if there's a free Mafia,
right,
and they all write the different name, they don't coordinate during the night, so that nothing happens. But when it's only one Mafia, he doesn't need to coordinate. So he kill every night.
Wow.
So the whole point, that was one of my exciting mechanics, that price of night of the Mafia grows over the end.
Right.
The less the Mafia in the game, the more chances you get killed.
But the only way that you can check to see if the Mafia are gone is to risk.
So that's why you vote.
So that is such a interestingly nuanced wrinkle. And that, I don't even think that's what you were suggesting, Jesse, that you are...
Detective, so...
Yeah. The option to, oof.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Detective appeared in a third retelling, I think, in different because people knew these role-playing games, so they immediately want that somebody who knows what's going on. Oh, and the point about so when I came to the United States, I suddenly realized that games are actually property. Who knew in our Soviet Union? So I started doing something about it, and I went to Hasbro and went to the final. They're supposed to put Mafia into production. It's 1998 or 1997, and they say, no, you know what? It's too many people. 6, 7 people. We can't show it on television. We can't make advertising on television for 6, 7 people. It's so sorry, we pass. After that, I start thinking, okay, could I remove the moderator? And then I removed the moderator so to be at less. And then I created this gesture. You know this gesture? It's how you play Mafia Night with this gesture. And that's it actually. During the night, you put the head down, and Mafia, that's how Mafia shoot people. Nobody sees. And that's one of my fun in life, that I walk around and I see like a group of kids sitting and doing this.
Nice.
I know that gesture. I remember how I come up with that gesture. And that's how I move. We don't talk about all this movement is connected with gestures. You know, gestures are very important. Like, for example, swinging hands is a Socrates idea. Before people didn't swing hands.
I think that as much as I think we're all a little bit, very much enjoying your being stimulated by this conversation, which is ranging from talking about like our consciousness connecting with the universe to like the intricate details of this lovely, elegant game that you've designed and given to the world. I think that all good things must come to an end. So let us thank Dimma Davidoff for an amazing, amazing, mind-blowing talk. Thank you so much.